We are going to be looking at the last topic for this course, which is going to be alternative foods and food sovereignty. So, addressing global challenges is vital for sustainable development and human well-being. Four key issues include obesity, climate change, undernutrition, and freshwater depletion. These challenges are interconnected, requiring comprehensive strategies. For example, we can talk about poverty reduction, which is about inclusive economic growth, social protection, and equitable resource access to mitigate health risk and food insecurity. We can also look into improving human capital, which is looking into investing in education, healthcare, and nutrition that enables healthier, more productive lives. Also, in terms of sustainable food systems and help transition to sustainable agriculture in terms of reducing waste and improving distribution can enhance food security and environmental sustainability. Also, we need to look into climate action and how we can mitigate climate change by adopting renewable energy, reforestation, and also climate smart policies to reduce emissions and build resilience. Integrated approaches involving collaboration among governments, civil society, academia, and the private sector are crucial for effective solutions in sustainable development goals. And when we are coming to the end of this course, I want you to remember that a very, very simple concept by Michael Pollan, which is eat whole foods, not too much, mostly plants. So choosing natural unprocessed options like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, nuts, seeds, and lean protein for essential nutrients. Practice moderation in terms of portion sizes to prevent overeating and maintaining a healthy weight, and prioritize plants, focusing on plant-based food for health benefits and also for environmental sustainability. And we can also look at this whole entire concept of replacing meat because our food choices profoundly impact our health, with non-communicable diseases claiming about 41 million lives annually, representing a staggering 71% of global deaths. It's not just about sustenance. What we eat shapes the composition of our gut microbiome, influencing our immune systems. So while navigating food choices can be daunting, there are clear guidelines to follow. In developed nations, replacing meat consumption is often recommended due to the environmental and health implications. Feeding valuable resources to livestock is inefficient, and we should opt for alternative proteins and vitamin sources that promote better health and resource utilization. Despite these challenges, there is a growing movement towards healthier eating habits supported by innovative solutions aimed at making meat reduction more accessible and also appealing to the masses. And we can look at some of the vegan meat substitutes over here and that whole entire notion of having too little protein, but we look at the amount of protein that comes from tofu, tempeh, and then seitan, and just it's really, really high. But to start eating smarter, we need to crack the nut of behavioral change. So, with significant research and funding and the potential to transform meat pricing, the current meat production processes is notably energy intensive when we talk about artificial meat. And plant-based meat alternatives are already hitting supermarket shelves, signaling a shift towards a more sustainable future. And this artificial meat is usually produced from the culture of animal cells, and we're trying to now looking into making them more climate-friendly food. So some of the things that's being used is utilizing local source peas, a primary commodity in Danish food farmers, to help offset carbon footprint. So that's how this one make food climate friendly is by using alternative forms of protein. And we also need to understand the future consumers and their beliefs in order to drive that intentional behavioral change towards greener practices. And it's essential to create products that are recognizable and appealing to consumers to help foster a greener climate. So it has to taste, look, and behave the same as the ones that we want them to resemble. And so then we can get more people to start consuming alternative forms of meat. And exploring alternatives like grass as a protein source presents promising opportunities due to its year-round growth cycle and high protein yields compared to soybeans. However, challenges remain, such as the need for regulatory approval, public acceptance, environmental impact assessment, and ethical considerations surrounding the use of animal cells in manufacturing processes. So now we can look at some of vegetarian snacks. And plant-based meat alternatives offer convenience to consumers, but sometimes it may fall short in terms of nutritional quality compared to real meat. So the question here lies, is it better for health? And one thing to note is that mock meat products are oftentimes fortified with iron, vitamin B12, and calcium to address the nutritional deficiencies commonly associated with vegetarian diets. But if we look at the overall contents of certain nutrients found in mock meat, they tend to be highly processed, high in sodium, and also high in saturated fat. But a lot of researchers are kind of finding similarities because if you're using real meat and cooking a piece of steak, a lot of times people tend to put a lot of salt as well on the piece of steak, and it comes up to be equal to the amount of sodium that is found inside your processed meat. And in terms of saturated fat, they have to kind of create that profile that people like when they eat steak. So yes, it may have a lot of, especially when we talk about maybe chips, this or some of the food products, this highly processed vegetarian vegan snacks that are available, you're still kind of using that same highly refined vegetable oils that may be just a lot higher in saturated fat. We can also look at the environmental impacts, and we know that the production of mock meat while it does not use a lot of land, sometimes it can use a lot of energy and also water. But there's no that, and in terms of carbon emissions, it and methane emissions, it might be a lot more lower because we do not have cattle which is actually producing methane continuously. And so we also need to look into the ethical considerations for environmentally conscious vegetarians. But generally, the research is showing in terms of environmental impact, vegetarian snacks or mock meat, artificial meat, actually has very, very low environmental impact in comparison to real meat. And we can also look in terms of ethical considerations because a lot of critics argue that artificial meat perpetuates the idea that meat is central to a meal. And again, potentially undermining efforts to promote plant-based dishes on their own merits. So kind of look at other problems that you might think, other advantages or disadvantages that you might see that comes from artificial meat. And this is something that you can see some of the answers at the bottom of the slide. And this is actually a good case study, and it's Plant Jammer. And basically, it's a platform designed to empower individuals to create their own recipes, ingredient by ingredient, allowing users to customize recipes based on what they have available. And, just researchers have said that if 1 billion people, what for just in a week, one day of a week, they do not eat meat, we can save as much carbon dioxide as you would if you converted all the cars in the US, UK, and Germany to electric cars. And so this platform actually really emphasizes the selection of ingredients that are both nutritious and environmentally friendly, making it easy for users to learn how to cook new dishes while maintaining a playful and enjoyable experience. And so to crack that nut of behavioral change, in terms of clarity, what is expected of you, it provides clear information on Plant Jammer on the expected impact of each ingredient on greenhouse gas emissions, so helping users understand the environmental footprint of their cooking choices. To motivate users, Plant Jammer incorporates elements of gamification by showing users how much carbon dioxide they are saving by their ingredient choices, measured in the number of trees. This provides a tangible incentive for users to make environmentally conscious decisions in their cooking. And also, The platform enables users to develop their cooking skills by providing guidance on how to cook with specific ingredients and where to find them. This training aspect ensures that users have the necessary capabilities to implement sustainable cooking practices in their daily lives. Also, policies are essential in terms of behavioral change to support that, especially in the context of promoting sustainable eating practices. In Nordic countries, particularly Finland, policies play a significant role in integrating sustainability considerations into nutritional recommendations. Finland is renowned for being the first country in the world to incorporate sustainability in its dietary guidelines. And one example of policy-driven support for healthy and sustainable eating is the provision of publicly supported lunches in Finland. This initiative extends from kindergarten to elderly homes, schools, and universities, with even employers contributing to the well-being of their personnel through meal support. And this approach reflects Finland's commitment to promoting healthy eating habits as part of its welfare society. And in terms of the Finnish public schools, they instill plant-based eating habits among children, and there have been efforts that have been done to achieve that. And so these new nutritional guidelines strongly incentivize plant-based eating, aiming to encourage children to consume more plant-based foods. And this is achieved through initiatives such as offering plant-based meal options and involving children in testing sessions to select new menu items. And so really kind of, again, highlighting the importance of early intervention in shaping dietary preferences. Studies have shown that childhood food preferences often persist into adulthood. And we know that policies that focus on promoting health and sustainable eating habits among children can have a lasting impact on public health and environmental sustainability. So now we're going to be looking at insect consumption. And there are several compelling reasons why the consumption of insects is gaining attention and as a potential food source. While traditional insect consumption is not common in Northern Europe, there is a growing interest in cultivating insects as a food source. And about 2 billion people around the world consume insects, and some of the most commonly consumed insects are beetles, caterpillars, bees, and ants. And if you can just look at the nutritional content, it's really high in terms of energy, in terms of protein, in terms of thiamine, riboflavin, and also niacin. And one key reason for this growing interest in the potential of insects as a food source is the environmental benefits associated with insect consumption. Culturally, the acceptance of insect consumption varies, but as awareness grows about the environmental and nutritional benefits, attitudes are shifting. And so insect farming is being explored as a viable alternative to conventional livestock farming, offering a more sustainable and eco-friendly approach to food production. So what are some of the benefits of insect consumption? Insects possess a remarkable feed conversion ratio, meaning they effectively convert feed into meat. On average, insects require only 2 kilograms of feed to produce 1 kilogram of meat, whereas your cows and cattle, they need about 8 kilograms of feed for the same amount. This efficiency makes insect a cost-effective and sustainable protein source, particularly beneficial for vulnerable groups. Also, insects are rich in essential nutrients, including proteins, amino acids, fatty acids, carbohydrates, vitamins, and trace elements. And they offer a nutrient profile comparable to that of a carnivore diet, and it makes them a valuable nutritional resource. And from an environmental perspective, insect consumption is highly sustainable and contributes to biodiversity conservation. Compared to traditional livestock farming, insect farming generates fewer greenhouse gas emissions and require less space and resources to produce the same amount of energy in food. This sustainability factor extends to emergency situations where insects can serve as a reliable source of survival food. Also, the environmental benefits apart from the environmental and nutritional benefits, insect farming can also enhance the livelihood of poorer farmers by providing them with a viable income opportunity. So recently, the EU has agreed on allowing the consumption of insects and also the usage of insects in animal feed, signaling a shift towards embracing insects as a sustainable food source. And I do have the flavor of insects and what it kind of tastes like. For example, some people who have consumed aquatic insects say that it tastes a lot like fish. Termites taste very nutty. Termites, on the other hand, sting bugs taste a lot like apples. Ants all has a very sweet and nutty flavor. To make insects a viable global food source, scaling up their production is essential. However, this presents significant challenges, particularly from an ethical, economic, and health-related considerations. Increasing production may raise concerns about the welfare of insects, and also the knowledge about your welfare needs and behaviors become crucial to ensure humane treatment. In terms of scaling up insect production, it requires significant investment in infrastructure, technology, and research. So ensuring profitability while maintaining affordability for consumers is essential for long-term sustainability. Also, we can look at many insects, for example, like mealworms. They thrive in densely packed, dark environments, making efficient automation crucial. And labor costs are high, necessitating the use of robotics, particularly in regions like the West, where labor can be really expensive. We can also look at diseases and how it can emerge within insect populations as production scales up. So understanding and managing these diseases are vital to prevent outbreaks and ensure food safety. Also, assessing the potential transferability of these diseases to humans is essential, and we can look and draw some lessons learned in other animal production systems. So we also noticed that there are a lot of products these days that are made up from insects that you might be able to find in the supermarket. Protein bars, they're used in beers, bread, burgers, candy, chocolate-covered insects, cookies, crackers, chips, and crisp bread, because they're really very, very high in various kinds of nutrients. In Finland, for example, oatmeal balls toasted in a meat-like texture with umami flavors have been introduced. And this approach aligns with the gastronomical preferences of the population and makes insects more palatable. Rather than focusing on gimmicks, incorporating insects into food should serve a purpose beyond novelty, such as enhancing taste and nutritional value. So, create food where it's just not used for fun, but where insects actually have a purpose. Also, to encourage widespread adoption, efforts should focus on integrating insects seamlessly into existing culinary practices, emphasizing their benefits in terms of taste, nutrition, and sustainability. Also, kind of fostering the understanding and appreciation of insect-based foods through education and awareness campaigns can help overcome cultural barriers and promote their acceptance in mainstream diets. The concept of personalized food manufacturing at home scale holds promise for addressing individual nutritional needs and preferences. By allowing consumers to tailor their food production to their specific requirements, such as dietary restrictions or preferences, personalized food manufacturing can offer solutions to common nutritional issues, including micronutrient deficiencies prevalent in many low and middle income countries. Also, innovations in reformulation, fortification, and functionalization of food products can play a crucial role in improving nutritional outcomes. So, by incentivizing the use of existing technologies and techniques, such as fortifying staple foods with essential nutrients, the food industry can contribute to combating malnutrition and enhancing public health. So, for example, creating a personalized nutritional plan for people with chronic diseases. So maybe a person with diabetes could use a 3D printer to create food products that are low in sugar and high in fiber, developing food products specifically for children with allergies. For example, a child with a peanut allergy could use a 3D printer to create food products that are free of peanuts. Provide nutritional support for people in disaster zones or other humanitarian emergencies. And because 3D printed food could be a quick and easy way to provide essential nutrients to people in need. However, it's essential to recognize that while precision nutrition offers individualized solutions, it should not be viewed as a substitute for broader public health initiatives. Addressing the underlying social, political, and economic inequalities is crucial for improving population health outcomes. And so these are just some of an example of 3D food printing. It's used in hospitals in Singapore. It's also used, this example I got is used in a German nursing home. And we know that elderly people, they may have lost some of their teeth, their jaws are no longer as strong, so they need softer food. And here you can create, or you can print out carrots, but much more softer, and so it's more palatable and it's much more easily digested, particularly by the elder population. You can create very innovative and fun food products. And so these are just the various food examples. So what are some of the benefits of 3D food printing, and how does that drive sustainability? The answers are at the bottom of the slide, but I want you to think of some ways that you think that 3D food printing can really help to drive sustainability, reduce environmental impacts, and what are some of the potential health outcomes associated with 3D food printing.